talk a lot about citrus oils in doTERRA. It seems to me like, by my recollection, here in the United States, we have 6 different varieties of citrus oils. Is that not true? I remember as we first launched doTERRA, I thought to myself, as we got lemon, and then grapefruit, and then wild orange, that's all the citrus oils that we need. I think I was wrong, because since that time, we've added lemon, and we've added lime, and we've added tangerine, and we've added bergamot. And so we have a whole supply of citrus oils for you. Now, one of the things that I love about citrus oils is that you can have individual aromatic preference for the citrus oils. And the reason why that becomes valuable is because they have shared benefits. A lot of the chemistry that we see is similar, even though there is some subtle differences. And all of the citrus oils have limonene associated with it. Every single one of them have limonene. So choose your favorite and you can't go wrong. And so then it begs the question, how do we divide up the category of citrus oils? How do we make sense of this? Because you should be having a hint by now that I am going to launch a new citrus oil. And so let's divide it into 2 simple categories. Those that have dominant chemistry for limonene. And you already know this. Those of you who are new with this, you might be learning this for the first time. But tangerine, grapefruit, and wild orange all have 95% or more of pure D-limonene. Now, I'm not going to go into all the health benefits associated with that, although they are remarkable. But this is the primary reason why you hear us talk and speak all the time, because of how they help the body to preserve and protect cellular structure and function. These are oils that we generally consider that we should try to use every day. Now, me personally, I like adding them to my water. But if you come to our home, we diffuse them in our home all the time. This is a mainstay. If you're ever at doTERRA and you come by my office, if you can get through the myriad of locked doors and sentinels that seem to stand everywhere now, I'll tell you how to sneak past them. Are you ready? Wait till they leave, and under the desk, there's a button you push, and it opens all the doors magically. And you can just come right back. You're going to find that I diffuse citrus oils in my office every single day, almost without exception. I love the benefits that it brings to me. I believe the context that it's helping my body to become more resilient, becoming more fortified. And so use these oils in that capacity. Now, limonene, which is the one that we always talk about, does a whole lot more. And while I won't spend any time going through these benefits, understand it's not singular to cell protection. No chemistry in the body, no chemistry, therefore, in the essential oils is just singular. When I say chemistry in the body, I'm referring to the oils themselves. It's going to have a myriad of benefits, and we see that with the essential oils. So you might, in your mind, have a very specific reason to use them. But think that it goes far beyond, even if you don't understand all of the reasons why. So let me introduce to you green mandarin. Now, I love green mandarin. I've got to tell you a little bit of a story with green mandarin. Now, Emily and I had a chance to go to Brazil not too long ago, where we were looking at Copaiba. And it was everything you'd imagine it would be. We were in little dugout canoes, and we went up the Amazon. We traipsed through the jungle. We found spiders that were big enough to carry you away. Emily was petrified of snakes. I walked around, and there were these big burrows everywhere that I saw as we were walking and hiking. And I kept asking, what are those burrows? And I'm not exaggerating. They were probably about that big around. And they always just ignored me and said, oh, nothing, oh, nothing. And as we were walking, finally up above us in the tree, there was a spider that was about that big around. And they started laughing, and they pointed at it, and they, of course, got it down, and they disposed of it. And then they said, you shouldn't be looking at the burrows. That's where they go at night. In the daytime, they're in the trees above you. And so they've been laughing at us all day because we'd been seeing all of these. Well, the exact opposite of that part of Brazil is down in southern Brazil, which is where we source our green mandarin from. It's beautiful. It reminds me of being in Italy where we source a lot of our other citrus oils from. It's a beautiful part of Brazil, and it's an intensive process. Now, what's interesting about green mandarin is red mandarin. It's just unripened. And the process that they have to go through to obtain this is that the trees themselves have to be thinned. You can't just let them all grow. And so they take about 60 to 70% of the fruit they eliminate before it's ripe. In the past, that has just been a throwaway. But at doTERRA, we wondered, is there some value in that essential oil? And what we discovered is that it has three amazing qualities. First off, it does have some unusual chemistry. And because of that chemistry, it has a non-typical aroma. It does have a citrus aroma to it, but it has more of an earthy scent as well. And so I like it because it gives us some variety within the citrus oils. And then reduced or no photosensitivity. Now on the label, you're still going to see this warning that says, maybe photosensitive. Pay attention to that, but we cannot detect any furocoumarins at all in this essential oil, which is partly why I got excited about it. And I have to believe it's because the unripened fruit, they just have not developed to that extent yet. And so we don't have furocoumarins. We don't see that in this essential oil. Now I'm going to talk with you a little bit about limonene. It has a substantial amount of that, but it also has something called gamma-terpene. And gamma-terpene has its own health benefits associated with it. I'm not going to spend a tremendous amount of time with that, but rather tell you how those two work together to help the body to be able to respond appropriately. Now, I've talked about this a few years ago. I talked about brain pathway, and I went through a number of different things. And I'm talking now about how limonene and gamma-terpene, like what we see associated in this case with the mandarin essential oil, have a direct effect within the spinal cord. And it's really easy to understand. We have some type of an outside stimulus that stimulates the release of acetylcholine within the spinal cord that acts as a signaling messenger that increases peripheral dis-ease and discomfort. So you see, it's really easy to understand. And one of the things that happens then with this is that it actually helps the body to control its release of acetylcholine. And so in the periphery, we don't feel the same level of discomfort that we did once before. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying, or do I just need to be completely non-compliant? By the way, we don't want to be non-compliant. We should be proud of where we are as a company, that we can talk about our oils, that we're sophisticated enough to move beyond the things that other people still, in complacency, do. I'm grateful to have had that challenge in doTERRA, and that it's caused us to have new discovery and new exploration of the essential oils, and to learn how to use and talk about them differently. And here's a good example. This is similar to the pathway that we talked about earlier, which is the COX-2 pathway. This is the LOX5 pathway, or the 5-LOX pathway. And this deals with the same tissue disruption, but is focused primarily within the respiratory system. And so you've heard before that citrus oils can be really clarifying to the respiratory system. Here's another good example of how that happens. Here's an easy, simple way to use this oil. Use it like you do any of the other citrus oils, but then don't be afraid to apply it in some of these other methods as well. And I won't take time to go into those because they're pretty self-explanatory. You ready for another oil? Okay, me too. Let's talk about turmeric. Yes. So the other day, my wife and I were in India and Nepal, and we were walking through the turmeric fields. Now this comes from a root. This comes from a root. Now I'm going to take just a little bit of time here, and I'm going to explain to you some of the differences that exist between turmeric essential oil and the botanical of turmeric, because there's a lot of confusion that's there. Now let me first tell you that turmeric, again, is not something new. Several years ago, we talked about turmeric. We didn't feel like the timing was right. And we also didn't have sourcing that was developed that we were confident in. In the very beginning of doTERRA, we had some limitation in what we could do because of our commitment to CPTG. It's nice to be in a time where we can have enough foresight that we can plan to the future, that we can look ahead, whether it's something like Roman chamomile or Melissa or rose or any number of other essential oils that we talk about routinely, that we can do a 3 or 4 or 5-year project and bring those to fruition in the context that you and I expect in doTERRA. And turmeric fits into that perfectly. It's the same exact thing for us. Now, one of the interesting things about turmeric is if we look at the constitution of it, it really is broken down into 3 components that I want to talk about. One, the bulk of now I'm talking about the botanical itself. The bulk of the botanical is made up of water and proteins and carbohydrates, fats and minerals and fiber. This is the main reason, aside from the water, that you'll hear a lot of people say it's fat soluble. It's fat soluble, so if you take turmeric, if you're using a turmeric powder, or if you do the supplement, just take it with some other fatty type of a substance. So a fatty oil, for example, will help it to digest appropriately. Nothing could be further from the truth, because the chemistry that we're after within the botanical fits into these 2 other categories. One is curcuminoids. Now, if you know anything about nutrition, if you keep up on any of those things, you know that curcuminoids have created a lot of excitement lately, and it's because of the broad spectrum of activity that they represent. And then the other is tumerones. So let's talk about both of those just real quickly, curcuminoids and tumerones, because when we look at the other constitution of what we see within the root as a whole, within that botanical substance, water and proteins, carbohydrates, minerals, fats, we get those from a lot of other things. And so our interest has been narrowed. So the curcuminoids themselves, this is what you see when you take an encapsulation. This is what you see when you're taking a supplement of turmeric. Here's the problem. First off, these are large water-soluble molecules. And because of that, you get very poor absorption, and you get reduced biological activity. Now, there's a reason why we say that. The poor absorption also means rapid metabolism, and it also means rapid elimination. So we just don't get the usability out of the product that we're looking for. We don't get the full value. Now, a lot of people say, well, maybe if we combine this with other substances like piperine from black pepper, that would help to change the constitution to make it more soluble. That would, but that also comes with its own challenges associated with that. One of the things that I like about doTERRA, this is not new to us. You just don't know that it's not new. Do you know that you've been getting curcuminoids for almost as long as you can remember in doTERRA? We have curcuminoids in both the alpha CRS, and we have a substantial amount of curcuminoids in the deep blue polyphenol context. And not only that, we've gone through a proprietary process where we've combined them with essential oils, so we get absorption 7 times increased. So you get the full value. So just use what we're already using for you to take full advantage of the curcuminoids that now everybody is talking about. And so then that leaves us with the tumerones, right? And so let's talk about the tumerones real quickly. Now, tumerones actually come from the essential oil. And the amount of tumerones that we have within the botanical itself is somewhat small. And so one of the things that happens is most often people will do a CO2 extract. Now, you can do a CO2 extract, or you can do a standard distillation and have an essential oil. Now, in my research and my excitement for this, as I really started looking some time ago at what was in the marketplace, this was an actual label that I found. USDA certified, turmeric CO2 essential oil. Now, it's splitting hairs, but things like this bother me. A CO2 extract is not an essential oil. And let me tell you why it's not. Now, CO2 extracts, I'm not saying they're not valuable, but let me give you some insight as to why we didn't do it in this case. CO2 extracts, there's supercritical extracts, which is high temperature and high pressure. There's subcritical CO2, which is low temperature and low pressure. And then there's even mid-range CO2, which is somewhere in the middle between them. The advantage of CO2 as an extract, if there is one, is that typically the CO2 itself, which is what extracts the essential oil components, is perceived to be really valuable because we don't have any solvents left over that we sometimes see with other processes. But here's the problem. CO2 is selective. And not only do we get other things besides the essential oils, we don't get all of the volatile chemistry from the essential oil. So we have a partial chemistry profile. And so for us, that just really wasn't an option. And the primary reason why is because when the chemistry is inconsistent, the ratio of the chemistry, do you remember 3 years ago, we introduced to you arc plotting? Do you remember that? Where we talked about how chemistry has to be in balance, and it's one of our telltales for quality of essential oils. We don't talk about that anymore. We just shared with you that that's something we do. We continue to do that. We continue to build that library. We continue to use that resource because we're interested in the ratios of the chemistry as a marker, not just of quality, but also as a marker of bioactivity within the body. These are important things that get constituted within the essential oils that are lost and forgotten about by most individuals, but we pay close attention to. Inconsistent chemistry in its ratios, there's inconsistency in the benefit. And we had no desire for that, so we did something very simple. We chose to distill this as an essential oil. And here's a comparison. In the CO2 extract, another reason everyone likes to do it is I get all these curcuminoids. But remember, it's water soluble. I can't digest it without some assistance. And then I get very little of the tumerones. And because I don't get a very high yield, a lot of times other things are added into it, and I still get solvents and other unwanted things. Now, this is specific to turmeric. With the essential oil, how we're producing it, we get nothing but all of the volatile aromatic compounds. And the compounds that we're looking for is tumerones. There's alpha tumerone, there's beta tumerone, there's something called AR tumerone, and that deals with the aromatic preference of the tumerone. It's called aromatic tumerone, so therefore AR tumerone. We have high amounts of each of those and substantial amounts of AR tumerone. And why that's an advantage to us is that it makes the turmeric essential oil bioavailable. It can easily cross through and cross over the membranes and the different planes that it must do to be active within the body. Now, here's some of the key benefits that we see associated with that. Natural tissue support, increased antioxidant activity, sustains cardiovascular health, preserves neurological tissue, preserves brain function. It supports even all of those areas and in all of those capacities. Now, we did a study at doTERRA, and we did a neurological study. Now, we're in the very beginnings of this study. We're going to do much more work, but I want to show you what we have found in our initial results. We wanted to know, would turmeric essential oil create for us the advantage of protecting some of those most delicate cells that we see within the central nervous system, dendritic cells located within the brain specifically? And what we found, this picture will make no sense to you, but it's a colorful picture, right? It's a colorful picture, and what it's really demonstrating is increased activity within those dendritic cells. And we saw that in two frameworks. One is that healthy neurons, otherwise healthy neurons that became stressed or were damaged, showed improvement, significant improvement, recovery, and activity in the presence of turmeric, and turmeric essential oil. The other thing that we did was we looked at healthy cells, and they became not only increased in their activity, but they also became more resilient and less susceptible to damage. And so in my estimation, turmeric is a wonderful essential oil for you to begin to learn and to use. Now, I've got some application methods here for you. You can use it topically. I have to tell you, turmeric, to me, is not my favorite aroma. However, take advantage and combine it with some of the oils that we've talked about. For example, mandarin and turmeric together, and especially because their parallel pathway through the 5 LOX pathway, is a beautiful aroma, and it gives you enhanced benefits. So look for some ways that you can couple that essential oils. One of my favorite ways to begin using that, of course, is internally. Not all of us need to take oils internally. That's not something that every one of us needs to do. For me, I do it within moderation for what works best for me. And I do it in the context of it's the most convenient and effective for me. And so choose whichever method is best for you, whether you want to diffuse or use topically or use it internally. You're not limiting the benefits. We might be changing some of the course or some of the length associated with that. We might have to change and adjust dosage associated with that and our usage specifically. But there's no reason why you can't have benefits no matter how you choose to use the essential oils. Now, I bring this up because we've talked a lot about Copaiba. We talked a lot about it last year. Emily spent some time and she talked with you about beta-caryophyllene today, and she reflected some of what you learned last year at convention right here. One of the things I want you to know is that it's not just beta-caryophyllene. It has targets outside of the endocannabinoid system as well. And here's just a few of them. The cardiovascular system, supporting healthy liver and brain tissue and activity and function. Lots of reasons. Remember, we get really excited about beta-caryophyllene, and we get excited about Copaiba or yarrow or any number of essential oils that has it. But remember, there's other chemistry that's present as well. And collectively, we have a much broader spectrum of activity that's just limited to the few things that we highlight. So when you have an oil that you appreciate, when you have an oil that you love, use that oil. I can tell you in making your choices, you won't be wrong in choosing what feels right and what feels best to you. And know that there's a variety of chemistry. Now, that having been said, I love Copaiba. And so we thought it'd be really nice if we gave you Copaiba soft gels. Now, I know what you're thinking. And so we're going to have the discussion one more time. What is carrageenan? Now, I know that over the years, I've talked with you about a variety of different things, and I said, listen, there's different types of carrageenan, right? They're not all exactly the same. Polygeenan is not the same as carrageenan, right? And there's different types that we can utilize. Some really are in the context of not being very helpful to you. Some are not damaging at all. Guess which one we chose? The one that's not damaging. But none of you are believing me, so I came up with a great analogy. How many of you like ice cream? Don't be dishonest. Raise your hands up high. I know you do. Do you know in one bowl of ice cream you get more carrageenan than you're going to get in a lifetime of taking our products? Did you know that? Not too long ago, I came home and somebody had called my wife, which I was not appreciative of. And they said, we would like to know why your husband thinks carrageenan is okay. Don't you know how bad it is? And so when I came home that night, my wife was waiting for me. There'll be no walking through the CLA groves tonight. That's not going to happen. And she wanted to ask me about carrageenan. Why would we be irresponsible? Because she herself had read a lot of information. What was ironic about it, she was saying all this to me while she was eating her seaweed, which is where that comes from. So I thought that was somewhat amusing. I'm tired of the fight. Carrageenan free. Now, this is our first soft gel with no carrageenan, and we're going to be converting all of our soft gels to no carrageenan, and it will just go away. It's not that we haven't believed you, and it's not that we haven't listened to you. It's that many times we have to develop new technology, and we have some wonderful partners who have helped us to do that. It's been a long 3-year period of time, but here we are, And now we're going to go to carrageenan-free soft gels. In closing, let me just share one final thought with you. I came across this the other day. Somebody actually placed it on my desk. And I thought it had meaning for us today. And it's just something I'd like to share with you in closing. It says, it's not possible to know what's impossible. Ideas are of no value if we don't make them true. Everything begins with a conversation, and the world belongs to the curious. Creativity makes the world spin. If you don't change the world, someone else will. The best way to predict the future is to create it. My friends, let's create our wonderful future together. I love you all. It's a pleasure being with you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
I swear that you are the future. I say that you are the future.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage doTERRA Chief Commercial Officer Andrew O'Hare.
Hello, everybody. Are you excited for all these new products? Are we excited? I want to let you know the team has been working hard on them for the last year or more, and we're so excited to finally get them in your hands. We hope you enjoy them as much as we do. Normally, this would be the moment when I tell you about the pricing and the PV for this year's convention kit, but we're not quite done. I have a couple of more surprises. Do you want to hear about them? As we look at our product development pipeline, we want to be sure that we're delighting all of our customers, and we've been paying particularly close attention to the millennial. Do we have some millennials here? Unfortunately, I'm not a millennial anymore, so. The millennial consumer is the main household shopper between the ages of 22 to 36, and they feel the products that they use reflect their aspirations and lifestyle. Also, they likely have children and, of course, extremely well-informed and do a lot of research when making their purchasing decisions. The research clearly shows that millennials are flocking to natural personal care products, and this market is estimated to be about $4 billion in the United States in 2018, with steady growth projected over the coming years. A study conducted by Mintel indicated that emphasizing natural ingredients would appeal to over 40% of body care users, with the highest ranked attributes being natural ingredients having therapeutic and calming qualities, and that these products contain essential oils. And doTERRA obviously is uniquely positioned to dominate this market. The large players in the industry are paying attention to these trends, and there have been a number of notable acquisitions of smaller natural product companies, a couple of noteworthy ones being the acquisitions of Native Deodorant by Procter & Gamble and Schmidt's Naturals by Unilever earlier this year. I bet you didn't know that, right? Both of these companies have been dominating the booming natural deodorant category, and the more informed consumer is, of course, very concerned about a daily ritual. Do you know where I'm going? Just hang on. I need to roll through this. About a natural personal care product that have very concerning ingredients, such as aluminum or parabens, but historically, natural deodorants simply have not worked well enough for the majority of consumers. However, we believe you can have a functional product with fantastic ingredients that you can feel comfortable putting on your body every day and the body of your family every day. So, what does all this mean? From time to time, we get
requests, and in this case, lots of requests to make an adjustment or two to one of our products. And I'm pleased to announce that we've listened and we've completely reformulated and reimagined our deodorant. You want me to tell you about it? Our new... You want me to tell you about it? Okay. Our new deodorant is, of course, a natural formula, and I think you know the next bit, infused with our popular doTERRA Balance Blend. It is safe, non-toxic, free of aluminum, talc, parabens, and artificial fragrance, and the formula includes arrowroot powder to absorb underarm moisture, as well as baking soda to help prevent and neutralize odors. For our product-conscious and well-researched millennials out there, the Environmental Working Group's average score for all ingredients is a 1, which of course is the safest, but most importantly, it works. And we know you're gonna love it. But don't take our word for it. As part of our research into the new product development process, we've had a number of people who you may or may not know trialing the deodorant, and let's see what some of them have had to say about it.
Guess what doTERRA sent us?
Okay, you guys, something came in the mail from me for doTERRA.
I just walked up to my front porch.
Okay, so just got the mail. Cute little package from doTERRA. I am so excited, you guys, look.
We shouldn't be getting this excited about deodorant.
I'm gonna try Balance today.
I'm going to go on a pretty hardcore workout. It's about 97 degrees.
I love that I smell like Balance all the time. I've tried so many natural deodorants. None have worked as well as this one. I am super excited to share this with everyone.
4-mile run plus some weightlifting. So I'll tell you one thing, the new deodorant works.
I'd have to say we're pleasantly surprised.
Love it. Smells really good.
I just wrapped my live broadcast up.
My personal trainer is on the way.
You guys, we're good. We're totally good.
And it lasts a long time, smells amazing. So I am crazy impressed.
I sweat a lot.
Pretty good. Done my run, as you can see. Oh, it's good, you guys. Like I could smell little whiffs of Balance. It still smells like Balance, even after that situation.
Probably 90 degrees and probably 99% humidity. And you know what? I'm real impressed. I still smell like Balance.
Isn't that great? I'm glad you're excited. We worked really hard on this product. And the deodorant is going to be part of your convention kit. And I'd never do deodorant, it'd be so exciting. And we'll be priced at $8.75 wholesale with 5 PV, and it's over 50% bigger than our previous deodorant. It is very competitively priced when compared with our other products in the marketplace. We also have future plans for several new exciting scents, including I think you guessed, Citrus Bliss, which you can experience at the product showcase. In addition, we also have a baking soda-free sensitive formula in the works. So how was that for the first surprise? And let's see if we can make you just as happy with the next surprise. Well, actually, there's a bit of bad news before the next surprise, so don't get really excited when I flash up the next slide. I'm sorry about this. But as many of you know, we normally offer birch essential oil in our convention kit. And this year, Mother Nature unfortunately had different ideas, and we were not able to source enough birch for your convention kit. I know, sorry. But please be assured that the sourcing team is doing their best to find a solution for the future. But we hope you'll be happily surprised to know that to find a new oil in this year's convention kit. Do you want to know what that is? The oil is a 5 ml bottle of Lemon Myrtle. Why do you want Lemon Myrtle? Let me tell you. Lemon Myrtle essential oil comes from the citrus-scented leaves of the subtropical lemon myrtle plant that is native to Australia. Some Australians? This oil is one of the highest and purest sources of natural citral, which is made up of geraniol and neurochemical isomers. It is extremely powerful in cleansing to the air and surfaces, and is my new favorite to diffuse for an uplifting and invigorating aroma with the added benefits of brightening and uplifting the mind and emotions. This is an amazing essential oil, and our sourcing team has worked incredibly hard to secure enough Lemon Myrtle for us to include it this year. We hope you love these 2 new additions. So here it is, our completed convention kit. And yes, we've listened and included a set of stickers for your new oils. The price for this year's Dream Convention Kit the team worked really hard for this price. It's $200 wholesale with 165 PV. It represents 45% discount, or a savings of over $163. And of course, the opportunity to get a bottle of Lemon Myrtle. So, who wants a convention kit?